Veronica with WatchMojo.com, and today health expert Nick Robinson explains the gluten-free craze and how it can be beneficial to you. So what is gluten?
Gluten is the sticky protein that you can find in grains. So you would find it, for example, in wheat, oats, barley. Now it's called gluten because it's sticky. So gluten is the protein that binds the food together, which is why we use it to make breads and pastries, because it helps bind food, and it's also used as a cheap additive in pretty much anything you find in a box or in a wrapper or in a can.
What does it mean to be allergic to gluten?
Because it's a sticky protein, it actually binds to something called villi, which are the absorbent little follicles that are contained in your intestines. As you eat gluten, it travels through your system and then it covers the villi, which means that whatever foods you're eating is going to reduce the absorption of nutrients of those foods. For someone who is allergic to gluten, it will actually kill off the villi and cause scar tissue in their intestine, causing massive health problems. Those are people who have celiac disease and other immune system diseases who react to gluten. But for random people who have no allergy and who don't have intolerance, they're going to feel the lack of nutrients also when they're eating gluten.
Now, how come we're seeing such a trend in going gluten-free?
The research in the past 10 years has been really dramatic. We used to think that people who couldn't have gluten were only people with celiac disease, and the testing for celiac disease was very inconsistent. It was very hard to obtain. We're just experiencing a lot more research that's becoming available. And the other thing too is, as we understand what gluten does to everybody, we're realizing that we need to take cancer patients off of gluten, children with autism, people with psychiatric illnesses, people with insomnia, because it increases the amount of nutrients that you absorb, which means it increases your ability to fight disease and to be healthy. So the athletic community, I think, is one of the first communities to go, hey, wait a minute, I want to sign up for the best, most optimal health possible, so I'm going to cut gluten out of my diet.
Does that mean that everyone can benefit from a gluten-free diet?
You take any single person off of gluten, and one of the first things they'll notice within 10 days is that their waistline shrinks. Yeah, by several inches. I had one lady that I was working with. In 10 days, she lost 7 inches around her waist. She was not allergic to gluten. It just was not optimal for her system. Most of my clients who take away the gluten, and within 10 days, they're transformed. Their skin looks better, their sleep is better, their energy is higher, and they just feel much more radiant and alive.
If you decide to go gluten-free, does this mean you won't be able to eat anything?
Let's explain maybe a bit more why we eat grains. So grains is actually quite new in the human nutrition system. If you look at a field of wheat, you wouldn't be inspired to go eat that. You'd have to mill it, transform it. You need tools and mechanisms. But grasses is natural for humans to eat. Grasses, for example, like rice, you just soak it and you can eat it. So grasses that don't contain gluten have been in our diet for thousands and thousands of years. So there's actually a wide variety of foods that you can have without gluten that just feels much better and more natural to your system. Like rices, like potatoes, amaranth and chia and teff, a lot of ancient grasses that we're rediscovering today and bringing back into our diet.
Now, I read that people that cut out fortified breads and cereals actually lack folate in their diet. Is this true?
It would be true if all you ate was bread and pasta. Folic acid is found in spinach and lettuces, and anything crunchy and green that you would find in a supermarket has folate in it. So all you need, if you make sure that you eat vegetables every single day, you have all the folate that you need.
If we want to go gluten-free, what do we have to look for on the ingredient list?
Obviously wheat, oats, rye, barley. I know you have the grains that you can easily identify. It's also hidden under something like yeast or starch. And if you see something that's called artificial flavors or artificial colors, odds are it also contains secondary ingredients. But there's always a risk when you eat packaged foods. Packaged foods don't need to identify anything that's less than 2% of the ingredients. So your manufacturer can be putting just about anything in your food as long as it doesn't exceed 2%.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.